From the towering Wasatch Mountains of the American Southwest, we welcome you to this episode of Undiscovered Utah. This show focuses on the mysteries that surround the rugged, difficult, and sometimes deadly American Southwest. I'm your host, JB, and tonight we are sharing with you what we believe to be the ultimate Utah road trips. Over the next 3 episodes, we will share 3 different itineraries. A 3-day itinerary, a 5-day, and a 7-day. So tonight's episode will focus on the 3-day itinerary. All of our itineraries will begin in the town of Moab, Utah. So you'll have to get yourself at least that far. We highly recommend that to get the most out of these itineraries that you don't sleep in. I know you're on vacation, but we have a lot to see and do, and you will not want to miss any of it. So let's get started. On day 1, you'll wake up in Moab, Utah. Like I said before, we are starting in Moab, and our first stop will be Arches National Park. Get up and get ready before the sun rises. Drive into the park before the long lines form and head straight to Delicate Arch. Don't worry about all the cool things you're driving past on your way to Delicate Arch. You will see them later. The hike to Delicate Arch is a moderately strenuous trail where you will climb up a slick rock trail and gain about 480 feet in elevation. Now, if you've never been to Utah, it's important to know that mornings can be cold, and by afternoon you can be hitting temperatures in the 90s or 100s. This is another reason we suggest hiking to Delicate Arch before sunrise and watching the sun peek over the La Salle Mountains that are beautifully positioned in the background as you snap beautiful pictures of this natural wonder. If you feel, or somebody in your group feels, that they're not up to the moderately strenuous hike, I highly recommend that you all go to the Delicate Arch trailhead anyway. There is some really cool stuff to see right next to the parking area. You can check out the ruins of Wolf Ranch and see the preserved cabin, cellar, and stables of the John Wesley Wolf family. Peek in the windows of the cabin and just imagine what living in this location would have been like. This cabin was built in 1906. Be sure to take time to read about the Wolf family and how they made their life in this beautiful but extremely harsh environment. The Wolf family were not the first people to live in this area, however. Just past the Wolf Ranch, right before the Delicate Arch Trail starts up the steep incline, there is a small trail that breaks off to the north, or your left if you're heading up the trail. Many visitors skip walking down this small trail, but they miss out on some really cool, ancient Native American rock art. Just keep your eyes on the cliff face on your right, and there are many areas where they chiseled into the sandstone, which I am sure were an important message. Once you are finished at Delicate Arch, we suggest driving all the way through the park to Devil's Garden. This is an amazing area of the park, and you will still be ahead of most of the park visitors by driving to this location next. There's much to see and do in this area, so plan on spending some time here and doing some of the hikes. In this area is where you will find the longest arch in North America. It is called Landscape Arch. It is 306 feet long, but only 6 feet wide. No, you cannot walk on this arch. The trail to Landscape Arch is relatively flat, with a few small ups and downs along the way. If you decide to continue hiking after seeing Landscape Arch, realize that the trail does get more difficult from here on. Once you finish at Devil's Garden, start working your way back through the park, stopping at the desired locations. We highly recommend popular spots like the Fiery Furnace and the Windows area. Two lesser known areas that you will have mostly all to yourselves if you have a high clearance vehicle and it's good weather are the Klondike Bluffs area and the Eye of the Whale Arch. Be sure to stop in at the Visitor Center on your way out of the park. For day 2 of your itinerary, again, you're going to want to get up early. You're going to love this day. Even though you will be spending a lot of time in the car, you're going to see some stunning landscapes. You will drive north out of Moab and head to Goblin Valley State Park. It's about a 2.5 hour drive. Depending on the time of year, this park can get very busy, but it is still worth a stop and should not be skipped. Getting there early will help reduce on the crowded parking area. This is such a fun place for the entire family. Goblin Valley has been used as the backdrop in many sci-fi movies because of its otherworldly appearance. This is really just a huge playground where kids of all ages can run and hide among the small goblins or hoodoos. Spend an hour or so there, and when it's time to get back on the road, because we still have a lot to see and do. When you get back to the main highway, head towards the small town of Hanksville, Utah. As you enter the town, there is a very fun gas station and store that is on your left. Pull off here and get some fuel and some treats. Oh, did I tell you the entire store is inside a cave? It's so cool, literally. The temperature in there is really quite nice. From Hanksville, you're going to head west, and you're going to drive through an area where NASA has their Mars Desert Research Station. You will not see this from the road, but you can easily see why they chose this location. Soon you will find yourself entering another national park. This park is called Capitol Reef, but sadly, you'll just be driving through it because you only have 3 days. There is no cost to drive through, and you still get to see some amazing rock formations. After you leave Capitol Reef, you will enter the town of Torrey, Utah. Turn onto the world-famous Highway 12 and be ready for the absolute most stunning scenery in the world. If you're the driver, please keep your eyes on the road. Not paying attention on this highway could be deadly. You will follow this road all the way to the turnoff to Bryce Canyon National Park and the town of Bryce, Utah. If you have booked a hotel in Bryce, and if it's late enough in the day, go ahead and check into your hotel and take a bathroom break. But don't relax too much because we still have all of Bryce Canyon to explore. You have a couple of options of how you want to see the park. You can take the park shuttle right from the town of Bryce or drive your own car through the park. The shuttle stops at all the most popular view areas in the park, but it does not stop at all of them. Make sure you get a map when you enter the park. Here are the favorite places to stop inside the park. Sunset Point is fantastic at, well, sunset. And the same is true for Sunrise Point at sunrise. But most likely, you'll be in Moab at sunrise. So, anyway. Inspiration Point provides a bird's eye view of the world's largest collection of hoodoos. And these hoodoos are much, much larger than the little guys at Goblin Valley. Our last suggested stop is Bryce Point. This is the iconic stop. You see most of the photos, so make sure your phone is still charged. Speaking of photos, if you took less than 100 photos on the second day, you should be ashamed of yourself. Just joking. Well, sort of. Day 3, and sadly this is your last day. Once again, get up early and head to Zion's National Park. It's about an 1.5 to 2 hour drive from Bryce Canyon. That's without any stops. But you might want to stop at a few detours. But it's up to you because Zion's is stunning. On the way to Zion's National Park, you will go through the town of Orderville. This town has the best rock shops if you're into that sort of thing. A possible very short detour is a fun little photo op and hike called Belly of the Dragon. This has become a very popular spot since the invention of TikTok and Instagram, but you have to find it. After the town of Orderville, it is only 5 miles to the turnoff to Zion's National Park. But instead of turning and heading towards the park, if you keep driving just another half a mile, you will see a dirt road taking off to your right. Turn on this dirt road and follow it for another 500 feet or so to the trailhead of Belly of the Dragon. After Belly of the Dragon, drive back to Mount Carmel Junction and follow the signs to Zion's National Park. You are now on Highway 9. Watch for buffalo, deer, and other wildlife along this stretch of highway. By entering Zion's National Park from this entrance, you get to drive through the very cool tunnels of the park. If you are driving an RV, be aware that the tunnel is only 13.1 feet tall. If your vehicle is taller than that, you will not be allowed to drive through the tunnel. If you are over 7 feet 10 inches tall, you will be required to get a permit and at the park entrance. And special traffic control will have to be arranged so that you are the only vehicle in the tunnel. So you can drive right down the middle to make sure you don't rip off an air conditioner. There is no quick way around if you cannot fit through the tunnels. We are talking about a 2 to 3 hour drive to get around Zion's National Park and enter through the south entrance. Zion's National Park is a very crowded park, and finding places to legally park can be difficult. Park shuttles are available in the town of Springdale, Utah, or at the park's visitor center. With the park name of Zion, the attractions have theme names like Angel's Landing, Church Mesa, the Altar of Sacrifice, and so on. See as much of this park as you possibly can. You cannot possibly see it all in one day, but this will give you a taste, and you will want to come back many, many times. After these 3 days, you should probably be exhausted and ready for a vacation, but you will never forget this trip. It will be a family favorite forever, and one you will look back on with sweet memories. As always, just remember that all of these locations are in the southwest desert of Utah, and the nights are cold and the days are scorching hot. Drink a lot of water, wear a hat and sunscreen, and make sure someone knows your travel plans. None of these places on our itinerary are that far off the beaten path, but you still have to be careful and respect the wilderness. Wild animals are in all of these parks, and yes, they are wild. These parks are not petting zoos. Enjoy the wildlife, but give them plenty of room and respect. If you decide to follow this itinerary, we would love to hear from you and about your experiences and thoughts. So drop us an email at admin@undiscoveredutah.com. That is it for tonight's episode as we discussed our 3-day itinerary. Our next episode will extend the trip by 2 days, which will give you the opportunity to see a lot more sights. So if you're interested in a little bit longer vacation, be sure to catch our next episode of Undiscovered Utah. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Undiscovered Utah. If you have enjoyed it, we need your help. Please subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with anyone who enjoys the great outdoors. Please join us next time as we share more about the Great Southwest. Good night, everybody.